All right.
So we are live as shit right now, by the way.
All right.
What do you think? You ready to roll?
Yeah.
Welcome to the
Let's do
Practical
this.
Pistol Show, people. Oh, Tim, you're so excited. Everybody knows what this is. We're on the F IPSC bandwagon, guys.
Are we?
I don't know. I mean, Foley says we are.
Or we're going
Anyway.
to call this podcast IPSC versus USPSA for dummies. Because I'm the dummy.
So, Tim, you've seen crazy shit on Facebook the last
I've
couple
seen
days,
lots of
and
crazy
you're probably
shit.
wondering what the fuck is going on.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Mr. Matthew Hopkins is in a unique position to explain why USPSA needs to tell IPSC to go fuck itself. Because they're stepping to us, dog. Right, Hopkins?
I mean, I don't know if it's like that, but like, there's some pretty big egos involved in here that are probably causing this issue to go a little crazy, I think.
Okay, so the issue is USPSA might take its ball and go home, play ball in our own backyard.
I think they're going to take their ball and go to other homes.
Or go to other backyards. Either way, this is what we need to clarify, Matt. What are you typing?
That was a cat on the
That's me.
keyboard.
Oh my God. All right. Because I'm looking in the group chat. There's like weird shit popping up. Okay.
That was the cat.
So, Matt, let's start. So we have an announcement from Mike Foley telling USPSA members what's up, informing them, right? So
Yeah.
everybody read that. They got better informed. And then Vince Pinto fires back, telling
It's more
people,
line by line and like,
and says Mike Foley's full of shit.
yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. It was like, what's that movie?
The Big Short.
No, it's the one where it's like, everything that guy just said is bullshit. I'll think of it. My Cousin Vinny. Classic shit.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So we need to talk about this. You were, for people who are not aware, which is probably most people, you and I just went to Hungary and
Yes.
competed in the European Handgun Championships. And what this podcast was supposed to be about, which we're going to do this, the plan was we're going to shoot a couple matches in Europe together. And then we're going to talk about shooting in Europe on a podcast and explain to people what we liked, what we didn't like, and what we'd like to see at USPSA matches, right?
Yes.
We're going to do that podcast, but that's not going to be today. Today's about drama. Okay, so we went to this match. Part of the match, and this was not my idea. This was one of the European RDs. His idea was that you would be the representative for the U.S. at the General Assembly in Hungary. How often do they do a GA?
It's every year.
Really? So how?
Yeah.
So
every
on the
third year though is equipment rules
which year is that?
at
Is
the
that
GA.
is that World
the,
Shoot year?
Second of the three.
So at World
So it
Shoot.
was just like, yeah, World Shoot they vote on equipment rules.
So probably the GA that is not at a Europeans and not during a World Shoot, because Europeans is every third year. In the year preceding a World Shoot,
Yes.
then every third year there's a World Shoot, and then
Yes.
I guess every third year is an off year.
Correct.
Where would they do the GA in the off year?
Usually Australia Asians, I think.
The Australasians? No, the Australasians was this year, wasn't it?
No, they have it every year.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so they do it at the Australasians.
Or they
Love
do it at EWA, I think, one of the two usually.
Okay, so EWA is, for those who don't know, that is the European version of SHOT.
Yeah.
So that makes sense, a place where people...
They have it, I mean, it's just I don't know.
All right,
It's
so
not as, they're all important, but it's not as highly attended or...
the one at the World Shoots to be the one that every dumb motherfucker is at, right?
Yes, because all the countries are there.
Okay. And our regional director would be Mike Foley. He
Yes.
was otherwise engaged during this General Assembly, so he sent... Well, you sent yourself, I should say. Or
Yeah,
more fair to say I dragged you.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
So anyway,
It was a really good time. So I was the U.S. delegate for the General Assembly. Set in the thing. It was like a 12-hour, maybe 14-hour event, I guess, all day Saturday before the
Dude, that
match.
was a long day for you. That must have sucked because we just hopped off. So we traveled for maybe 24 hours. You know,
Yeah.
you don't sleep at all, not really. And we land in Hungary, drive to our hotel, and then like 8 hours later, Matt's all jet lagged and shit and has to get up and go to the General Assembly. I was thinking, man, I'm glad I didn't take that job. Glad that was you, Matt.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what kicks off Foley's letter, which we'll get to? There was some shit went down at the General Assembly, huh?
Well, there was 3 resolutions that they voted on that was kind of.
Well, how many resolutions did they vote on?
There was like 30 motions that were voted on. I think probably 5 of those were matches. And the rest were like approve the minutes, approve all this.
The biggest deal. What was the biggest deal that was voted on?
The biggest one was not allowing other regions to sanction.
No, the most important thing to them.
Oh, voting on the next European Handicap.
Yeah, so that was the big issue that was actually sorted out was the location of the next Europeans. This stuff was not.
It'll be in Serbia.
Yeah. They don't care. This stuff was not. Nobody listening cares. They're not going. We're going to be out of IPSC. Fuck them foreigners.
It was an interesting vote. Probably more interesting than what we're talking about.
It actually is more interesting than what we're talking about, but not to.
Not to the U.S. people.
Not to the U.S. people. Anyway, so a few of these 30 motions were. A lot of them were
like common. They do this every time. They have to do it. And they voted on new regions and regions not in good standing.
Okay.
So like if they hadn't paid their bills or whatever, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. So the stuff that made Foley go cray was
yeah, there was 3 of them.
Okay. And what did they do? What's the effect? We can read them later, but it don't really matter. The net effect.
If USPSA does or doesn't, well, if USPSA sanctions matches outside the U.S., USPSA could be kicked out of the IPSC.
Well, if we sanction matches without
the RD approval.
Yes, the regional director for that region approving it. Okay.
Yeah.
We could be kicked out. And how did those votes go? Contentious?
No, there wasn't even any discussion on it. The one question that was asked is, has this happened before? And then Nick said yes, and it's currently happening. And then they voted on it. The U.S. voted no on all 3.
How did everybody else vote?
Yes.
Yeah, how many regions were there?
There were 30 regions represented at the General Assembly, and 30 had submitted proxies.
So out of 60.
Yeah.
So
There was one vote for no and 59 for yes?
Yes.
That's correct. What do you think about that, Tim?
Well, obviously, I don't know. Kind of paints us into a bad light, doesn't it?
Imagine, being there physically.
Well, okay, Matt. So
we're feeling like the entire world's against you.
Well, Matt, in your opinion, what was the feeling in the room on these resolutions?
The feeling in the room was they make 100% sense, and they were like no-brainers.
Yeah, that was the term that I heard was no-brainer. So just so people are clear on what this does, the U.S. is the U.S. region for IPSC, and we have for a long time had matches outside of the U.S. With the regional director's approval for that region. So, for example, you'll find USPSA matches in Canada because a lot of Canadians want access to our classification system because Canada can't seem to agree on one, I found out. It's different in every province. What they can agree on is that the best one is USPSA. So some clubs affiliate with USPSA as well and run USPSA classifier matches, and that's no issue because the Canadian regional director approves of that, and we obviously don't give 2 shits. because it's Canada, like whatever. So they set up their USPSA clubs and run the classifiers, no problem. So that's no issue. So what is the issue, Matt?
The issue's the U.S. doing it without the regional director approval
Which region?
in the Philippines.
In the Philippines. Okay. So that's what's going on. I guess the rest of the world. Why would all the RDs vote in favor of this?
Because they want their region protected from another region.
Yeah. So. Okay. So it makes sense for them.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense on a lot of levels.
You don't like the U.S. doing this Philippine shit, I take it.
I see it as two competing products.
That's the Foley view.
I'm just saying I see it as two competing products. But there's a lot of background that I know about, which it's still two competing products. I think there's some personal issues that they're using the USPSA a little
Who's
bit.
using USPSA? IPSC
No.
or the Philippines?
The Philippines people.
To the best of my knowledge, Tim, there's this gigantic shitfest going on in the Philippines with two groups of people that I guess aren't talking to each other anymore.
Right. So it's
And-
like the Philippines IPSC, and then the Philippines. What is the other one?
PMOSCO.
Yeah, PMOSO.
Blah, 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 yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh,
they've affiliated with USPSA, which I should point out that doesn't really help them at all.
Right.
Like nothing good happens for them when they affiliate with USPSA. Like it doesn't make any difference. They can run matches with or without USPSA affiliation. It doesn't really matter. But I mean, it sends a big fuck you to the other side, I guess, which is cool for them.
The problem is, and I think it sounds like the U.S. has kind of made their problem our problem,
That's
because now our problem is with the entire
the entire
fucking
world.
world.
Yeah. But, that's cool. We do what we want, right? Tim?
We kind of have been for a little while. I mean, we still do, really.
Yeah,
We're the
well,
only region with its own rule book and gets to use its own targets. And
Okay, so here's the
We'll-
issue then.
we'll get
This-
we'll
this
get
comes
into
from
this.
Somebody that's relatively new to
okay.
the sport is
You've been shooting since 2010.
2010. Yeah, that's still pretty relatively new. It's like 6 years.
Jesus.
So, like, what makes our relationship with IPSC like so contentious?
I don't think it has been the last few years, to be honest. Do you think it has been, Matt?
no, I think it's all started recently within this year.
Well, like, I mean, if you go back like to 2000, when we got our own rule book, I think it was pretty contentious. There's been dust ups in history, but since I've been shooting, like, I've been shooting since 2005, and there's been no issues. I mean, nothing real, nothing like we're fucking leaving, we're peacing out. Like there hasn't been any issues. Like it's been all good in the hood. So, anyway, I mean this is the basics. There's been a few amendments where basically regional sovereignty is one. Now, if you violate regional sovereignty, that is holding matches in someone else's region without their approval, the executive council could come in and fuck you up, which is the guys running IPSC's the executive council. And then if they fuck you up, the next General Assembly, they can vote to, throw your region out. So that's the stuff that could happen. All right. That basically sums up what could go down. Okay. So Foley saw that this went down. He was kind enough to wait till we got back from the Europeans to post this. By the way. Right, Matt?
Yeah, he did actually.
Yes. Okay. So Foley came in and posted, here's his opener. Every 3 years, it costs USPSA over $100,000 to be a region of IPSC, including some world shoot expenses. The only benefit that USPSA enjoys is passage to IPSC events held outside the United States. The benefits of this arrangement are enjoyed annually by about 15 USPSA members, and every 3 years by about 60 USPSA members when there is a World Shoot. When the World Shoot is held in less stable and attractive countries, fewer American athletes are interested in going. I think that's a reference to 2008, the Bali, Indonesia World Shoot. Anyway, that means that over 27,000 of our members pay for the privileges of only a few to enjoy IPSC. There is no agreement, accord, or binding document in force between the two organizations. Okay, I'm going to put this, I'll put this thing in the show notes for those that haven't seen. I imagine most people listening have already read those.
Yeah.
So that's
shared
the opener.
a billion times.
Yeah, which was, I mean, I like that. He's firing from both barrels to begin with. Mike goes on to talk about our mission statement and these resolutions. I like the really salacious stuff towards the end. It seems unreasonable at best that we should be used as political pawns to control practical shooting in other countries. Athletes shooting matches using USPSA rules in the Philippines are reported to have been banned from IPSC matches there. To support the recent IPSC changes is to be forced to deny the very principles on which both organizations were founded. I don't know about who's banning who. I've heard that both sides aren't talking to each other and they're banned from each other's matches. I have no idea. I don't really give a fuck about it. As USPSA president, I will continue to do what's best for USPSA as a whole, which includes not supporting special interests of the elite few. That's you, Matt, and me.
How's that me?
Because you enjoy the benefit you shot an IPSC match outside of the country. Fucking elitist, asshole.
I'm not an elitist, dude.
Yeah, you are.
You guys are,
Stretch
you
of the
shitbags.
magic.
You're one of the 15, dog. You've fully seen
Yeah.
it right here.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Both of
actually
you
only
guys.
3 this year, so.
One for the Australasians. I went to Canada. And I
Okay.
went to Czech. And I went to Russia. And I went to the
Oh,
Europeans. Oh, fuck.
You're not.
But I'm just
you're
one
not making
man.
your
So
case.
that's
You're not
2.
making your. You're
And
not
then the
making your
third
case
one
here
is
any better,
Hopkins.
Ben.
God damn it.
I'm calling Foley right now. I want to save my membership dues. I'm tired of paying your way
Oh.
to these countries to go.
Let
have
me
fun.
tell you, they didn't pay shit for our
They didn't pay shit, no. I even wore my 2014 team jersey at the Europeans at the opening. Like, so I wore, basically I'm wearing an American flag to send a big fuck you to everyone. But I like, they didn't pay for that. Well, they paid for it in 2014. I kept it. Like, so USPSA should be happy with me because I saved them some cash, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Thank you.
As a few of you want to go to France in 2017 at any cost, it seems. That's right. I'm willing to go at any cost. I mean, you tell me how much money I'm paying, I'm going. Consider that the future of the organization is more important than any one competition, vacation, or competitor. Also, consider that USPSA could literally field-funded transport 60 athletes to France for the 2017 World Shoot and be sanctioned and disqualified on the first day of the General Assembly while in France. There are difficult international legal issues that could arise from trying to exit France with firearms that no longer have a sporting purpose for being there. I just want to go on record with this. That's fucking retarded, what he just said. That's
Yeah,
stupid.
none of that's true.
None of
And
that's
Vince basically said later on that would be kicked out before the world shoots.
Right, but
So
no,
we'll have
if you
6
show
months to plan for it.
up to France with a gun for a match and you have the proper paperwork and you go shoot the match and you get DQ'd, your gun no longer has a sporting purpose there. You're not going to get fucked up in customs for that. That's stupid. Anyway, I'm certain that I will inflate some egos, but IPSC is very powerful politically and could cause serious problems for USPSA athletes in other countries. Yes. All right, so Mike doesn't personally know the gentleman involved in the IPSC Executive Council. I cannot trust our future financially or otherwise to anything other than the wording of the above resolutions. These resolutions are clear that there is no power or trust in this situation. All right, Matt, you're in the room when these things got passed. What's your take on Foley's response?
I mean,
Like you read this, what do you think? I mean, I've just read a small part of it, but
yeah,
I got the really good stuff.
I don't think anybody wants to kick the U.S. out. I think they just want to have like some semblance of regional exclusivity, you know?
Like they want the regional directors to be in control of their own region. Let me give you.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I gotta load up what Gaston sent me. I played it before. It's fucking hilarious. This was Gaston's reaction. He sent it to me on WhatsApp. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna play it for the audience because it's very funny.
Foley is being very Trump right now. That is not cool. At least Phil Strader, he shot several war shoots. I mean, he knows how to do politics. But you've endorsed a Trump guy, which is very cool. I mean, I would vote for him, but it's not going to be good for the sport, but it's still cool.
Yeah, so to me, this reads like an argument for us to not be in IPSC. I mean, it opens with the financial aspect of it, which and then it's like, hey, we shouldn't be in IPSC because, you know, like pretty much all IPSC is to Foley is the World Shoot. And I think that's true that to most Americans, all IPSC is the World Shoot. And we pay $100,000 every 3 years just so we can participate in the World Shoot. What do you think, Tim? $100,000, man, that's a lot of money.
$100,000 is a lot of money. But it's, from what I've read so far, what is it? It's actually $9,600 a year in IPSC dues, and then it's $60-some thousand or whatever on a World Shoot year to support a team of how many participants to actually go to a World Shoot? 60?
I think they only pay for 20.
Okay.
And they don't pay for you get a check, and then whatever you go over, like you pay for that, obviously.
Right.
I've gotten one of those checks before, or 2 of them. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's appreciated. Thank you, USPSA.
The way he kind of starts the letter makes me think that there's like he maybe is more concerned with the financial aspect more so than, you know, like he's more concerned about where $100,000 is going every 3 years versus really what our relationship is with IPSC.
I get that too. And to me, when I see this is more like I don't want to be in IPSC anymore. I don't like IPSC. I don't want to be in it, and I don't want to spend this $100,000. Now, yes, what people are learning after the fact, I mean, I knew this beforehand, but like I thought the $100,000 shit was misleading at best. Like I don't think that
It's attention grabbing to try to.
Yes, it grabs your attention. I don't think that informs the membership to put that out there. I think that irritates.
I don't think it does either.
No, that misinforms people, if anything.
I think it immediately tries to put people, and no offense to Mike, I love Mike to death, but I think it puts people more so on a defensive to immediately side with something that they haven't even read the rest of the letter yet, because $100,000, fuck that, you know, it instantly becomes defensive, like, hey, this is where your money's going, and if you don't like this, then here's why. And
right. Now, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. The other line in there that's weird to me is the benefits of this arrangement are enjoyed annually by about 15 USPSA members and, you know, by the other 60 members. And Mike feels that access to these matches is the only benefit we get, which I don't think is true. I mean, the really cool benefit we get as an organization is that we keep IPSC the fuck out of the U.S. I mean, that's a good thing. I view that as a positive. Mike finished up the letter with something I vehemently disagree with, which is, it is rumored that IPSC will start their own IPSC region in the U.S. should USPSA no longer be affiliated with IPSC. I do not oppose this idea. In fact, I welcome it. It would give athletes the ability to choose the sport that is right for them and create more opportunities for international competition. Many of our athletes belong to multiple shooting sports organizations already. I wish IPSC the absolute best. Well, I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't wish IPSC the best. I don't want a competing a region that an IPSC region in the U.S. that actually tries to compete with the USPSA. I don't think it would go anywhere, but it's not good for the sport, and it's not good for us in the U.S.
I don't. I exactly. I think it would begin more disparity than it would fix things. And I think my biggest issue with that is if USPSA is already a member of IPSC, or we're a like the U.S. sanctioned body of IPSC.
Yes.
What the hell do we need an a separate IPSC?
We don't.
Organization.
What that does is
that's what USPSA is to begin with. Correct?
My read on this is basically fuck IPSC, and then we will crush them on the open market. Like, free market competition is cool if you're going to win, right?
Right.
Like, so I'm thinking that the general consensus is that IPSC would go nowhere in the U.S. I personally don't think it would go anywhere. I hope it wouldn't go anywhere, but it's not good to even like give them the opportunity. And
right.
you know, some guys there's all types of personalities in the sport. Some guys are crazy. Like, if some like fag is like, oh, 15-round production, that's the shit. Like, so I'm gonna make my club an IPSC club. You know, and then you roll into his club with your Glock 34, and it's like, oh, sorry, your gun's not legal for IPSC production. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, that sort of shit is stupid. Having all of us on the same rule set in the U.S. is definitely a good thing for the sport. In my opinion, definitely good. I don't welcome the competition. I don't want IPSC pissing in our pool. I don't want that. But again, that's just me. So, Matt, anything to add?
Well, I think if we get a U.S. IPSC like organization, it could be like not as democratic as USPSA is. Like, there's probably not going to be a board. It's going to probably be an RD that may get elected, may not, may just take over.
Yeah, I don't know how that would function.
Get them out.
But again,
so
let me give you the Mike counter argument. That only affects 100 of our athletes. Who gives a fuck?
Being one of them, maybe I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather have it like where we vote on a board and a president. That would be the best.
What, like we already do?
Yeah, basically like we have.
So we already have a very stable situation, and it doesn't really make much sense to rock the boat, you say?
True.
You're one of the elite few, Matt. You're one of the elitists.
So here's another thing. The president doesn't have to be the RD. He can appoint an RD. If he wanted to, like, get rid of that responsibility off him.
I made that suggestion. I don't think I was heard on that, because to have an RD that isn't, you have to empower that RD. You know what I mean? So our RD has to have the power to say, like, no, we're not going to run matches in the Philippines because that's pissing people off all over the globe.
Okay. So
you don't think the board or president would be down for that then?
I don't think the board or president are going to cede that authority to someone else. Like, they want to do what they want to do.
Okay, so here's the dummy in me asking the dummy question.
Yeah.
What the hell is USPSA doing going to the Philippines and getting a club sanctioned or helping run a sanctioned match?
Well, okay. Well,
like,
look at it from their perspective. At the time, it probably didn't read like we're pissing in someone else's pool, or we're getting involved in someone else's like politics or in someone else's bullshit. It's like you've got a group of guys who come to you and they say, "Hey, we want to shoot USPSA. We want what you guys have. You guys have USPSA. That you're the shining beacon of awesome. So that's what we want." And then you're like, well, who would want to say no to that? You know? Like,
okay.
And then it's like, oh, and our RD in the Philippines, he's a real dickhead. He won't let us shoot USPSA. So won't you just, like, let us shoot USPSA anyway? So then questions like, do I really give a fuck about your internal political situation? Or can't you guys just shoot USPSA and not be affiliated with USPSA? Like, they could use the rule book and do USPSA and not be affiliated. But then you're like, oh, but I kind of want the money, that kind of a thing. So, I mean, I understand wanting to do it. I get that. I mean, now, like Tim, looking in retrospect, it seems stupid, but at the time, it probably seemed like a good idea. Like a lot of stupid
Sure.
things, it seemed like a good idea at the time. So,
But I guess my big thing is, and I know that's been discussed now, kind of to death amongst everybody regarding the like whether it was a good idea or a bad idea to do the whole Philippines thing. But I guess then my question would be, obviously everybody talks about we should grow the membership, we should grow USPSA, we should grow the brand, have better matches, get more members, and all that kind of stuff.
I think we should. I think we should grow the sport.
Right, but what about growing it the way that Mike kind of talked about?
Well, Tim,
9 months ago, 10 months ago,
Yeah.
when he was talking about like subsidizing a new club with loaner equipment.
Well,
or
here's-
with equipment purchase a discount to get clubs on board.
here's the problem.
Not-
Like, I wouldn't conflate the sport with the organization. Like, these are different things. You know what I mean? Like practical, like for all intents and purposes, like plenty of people would disagree with this. But Matt, I think you probably agree that USPSA and IPSC are basically the same shit. It's like it's hit factor scoring, very similar-ish stages. There's a few rule differences.
Yeah, there's minimal rule differences, but yeah, for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing.
Yes, so growing you're not really growing the sport. We'd grow the organization by essentially poaching members who already shoot out of another region.
But out of another,
There's one pool that we're pulling all from, right?
Yeah.
And like most are in the U.S., but like
A lot are elsewhere.
we're not getting new members that aren't already members of their IPSC
Tim,
region.
we're not growing the pool. We're kind of fighting over what's already in the pool.
right?
Not to our benefit. I mean, it doesn't really help organizationally. I don't think it helps us to be in the Philippines.
I don't think so either.
Well, there's a lot of headaches associated with being involved in matches in other countries.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's my concern, or my question is like, why are we doing that 3,000 miles plus away?
Well,
versus
let me ask you this, Tim. When is Production Nationals next year?
who effing knows?
I don't know. No contracts are signed. I
Right.
mean, is there a relationship there? I mean, probably. When your organization has a lot of shit going on, it gets tough to get things done when you have the same number of people. So, I mean, again, that's my take on it. I don't know. I don't like it, but that's me. Anyway, should we move on to Vince's response?
Let's do this. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So Vince went line by line. I can put this in the show notes for people that are Global Village members, but if you're not a Global Village member, you're not going to be able to read it. It's like way too long to get to all of it. I'll just
Link
get
up
to.
your post.
I'll link it up, dude. Oh, on Facebook?
Yeah, that has all the screenshots of it.
Yeah, I just screen capped it and put it on Facebook. Anyway, Vince responded in detail to Foley's stuff. A lot of the stuff that we've just said. When Foley says every 3 years, it costs USPSA over $100,000 to be a region of IPSC, including some World Shoot expenses. Vince says this is incorrect. I think, to be fair, Foley's post was factually correct if you read it like a lawyer. But Vince says it's incorrect. USPSA only pays IPSC a grand total of $9,600 per year, $28,800 over 3 years in fees. This is exactly the same amount paid by our 11 other largest regions: Australia, Brazil, Canada, Germany, Greece, Italy, Norway, Philippines, Russia, South Africa, and Sweden, which have all reached the 2,000 membership fee cap. So they only charge you for 2,000 members regardless of how many you have. USPSA may spend additional funds in respect to fielding teams to IPSC World Shoots and other major matches, but that's not an obligation to IPSC. That's entirely a USPSA decision. Of course, Vince is talking sense, and I would say informing rather than misinforming. To be like on that particular point, there's some stuff we disagreed with in Vince's post, right, Hopkins?
Yes.
All right, what did you not like that Vince had in there?
to pull the screenshots up.
Yes, you should do that. When Foley said 27,000 of our members pay for the privileges of only a few to enjoy IPSC, Vince says, using this argument, only about 500 USPSA members get to shoot the USPSA Nationals. Is that fair to the other 26,500 members? In any case, the $9,600 currently paid to IPSC equates to only 35 cents per member. By comparison, a region with only 100 members pays $1,100 annually to IPSC. That equates to $11 per member. Both regions get one vote in the assembly, but one pays considerably more per head for the privilege. Of course, the USPSA must still make its own decision as to the value of these fees, but I want to put the numbers in perspective. I mean,
well, that could be argued about that. With our 27,000 members, we get the same vote as a country that
right, and Vince
only has 100.
Vince undercut that later on when he compared the differing populations and areas of USPSA, and they each get the same area director. Which
True.
I think, if you look at it as a question of degree, like it's way more extreme in IPSC because there's some regions that have how many members? Like there's some regions that are tiny.
Well, Japan
is a
they
region.
can't even own guns.
They are a
I don't
region.
know how many members they have. No one actually, except the U.S., actually posts their members' numbers.
Yeah. Well, we actually shot with some guys from the UK that can't own guns.
Thank you.
And they had to fly to Hungary to borrow guns. And they are an IPSC region.
That's true.
Same vote we get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's different though because they can own shotguns there, and they're very competitive in like numbers and like finishes at the shotgun level. So it's like, and they're all still members. So it's a different organization, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different the way it's set up. Like a country could own shotguns and be like #1 shotgun country, and have like several hundred members that shoot shotgun only, and they're not going to be like represented at the handgun matches because they don't go to it or can't own them, you know?
Yeah. All right. So, have you pulled up the screenshots, Matt?
Yeah, I got them.
Which part did you not like that Vince posted? The part where he said that Matt Hopkins represented the USPSA with dignity. I don't know if I agree with that. It's time to throw in a joke.
No, that's fine. I was there. It was fine. Everybody like made me feel welcome. It wasn't like
Until they had to vote against the U.S.
Oh, there was no discussion or nothing. It was like fucking U.S. are being dumb again.
All right.
U.S. are being fucking U.S. again.
Yeah. All right. One part of that Vince wrote that I don't agree with him at all. He's responding to Mike saying, even if USPSA were to agree to not actively sanction USPSA matches outside of the U.S., it leaves us two issues. The resolutions adopted by IPSC define the sanctioning of matches subject to penalty as both actively and passively. And he's quoting when he says actively and passively. And that verbiage is in the resolutions that passed. And I don't like that language. That doesn't make much sense to me. That's not super clear verbiage to me. To sanction something would require that you actively sanction it. It would require active. Like to passively makes no sense. And Vince says, without the carefully chosen expression, actively or passively, an offending region would simply deny complicity. Like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, I just don't know what he's talking about. So, no, I don't think that was very clear verbiage. I think it was kind of a misstep on IPSC's part for sure. Anyway, Hopkins, what else didn't you like?
Well, the thing I didn't like was how he laid out exactly how this will happen. Even if... So there's a match, I guess, in December in the Philippines that's using the logo, and Vince is saying it's sanctioned. Foley is saying it's not sanctioned. And Vince lays out the plan that if this match happens, suspension action will be taken by the Executive Council, most likely in January 2017, which means USPSA would not be given any slots to France. So the competitors know 6 months before the intended departure, which means basically, so if this match happens in December, the council can suspend us, give out all the slots
Not give
before
us
it's actually
any.
ratified, not give US any,
Yeah.
and then like before it's even ratified by the council, like by the assembly, the US would be out and have no recourse or anything.
Yeah. I don't see it playing out like that. Matt,
I could see that as
I could
one of
see.
the solutions or one of the outcomes. You don't?
I see that. I don't think it's going to get that far. I think there's too much heat on both sides right now to find some sort of an issue. Because like when it comes down to it, like this purse fight is stupid, and I think anybody observing is just like, wow, that seems like a bunch of bullshit over nothing. Like whether we're in or out of IPSC or whatever, like this fight is dumb as fuck.
Well, the thing that gets me is, so Vince is saying this is a sanctioned match, and Foley, as the RD and like the president of the USPSA, is saying it's not. Who's going to believe who at this point?
Well, I don't know. It'd be up to the
And
executive
here's-
council to vote, and then the RDs at the next assembly would vote to ratify or not.
Here's my
Us
question
getting voted
then.
Okay,
yes.
there's nothing we can do in the
Who is-
meantime, though.
Who the hell is holding the Philippines accountable for all this bullshit?
What do you mean?
Well, just because, I mean, if they're going to sanction a match or they're going to talk about having a match and there's flyers with our logo and stuff on it, like, has anybody even questioned the Philippines as to, like, I don't know, like, what the hell is actually going on? Like, who's scratching whose back, so to speak, and who's, I don't know, who's making shit up?
Well,
You know what I mean?
my read on the situation is it's probably a sanctioned match. Like if I'm guessing, it's probably sanctioned by us.
Okay.
Like
Well,
I don't know, but
It's not on the calendar. So, like, what determines sanction? Someone
don't know.
using the logo?
no, them using the logo is not saying. I mean, that's stupid. People put USPSA logos all over their shirts and all over their everything. Like a USPSA doesn't police the use of its logo, nor should it. That's stupid. I don't think the logo has anything to do with anything.
Then how's it determined? So Foley's saying it's not. Vince is saying it is.
How would an outside observer determine if it's sanctioned?
Yeah.
Well, it's a dues paying USPSA club, right?
How do you know? How do you know?
I think Foley told me that. Like that's an affiliated club with a bunch of members. I don't think that's really in dispute. Like whether or not the match is sanctioned, like I don't know. Are they going to collect classifier fees off of it? That would
You're
be
supposed you have to collect them off every match, right?
what's
No
that?
matter what.
Any
have to
match you
collect them
run a
off every-
classifier, right?
Any match that you hold under USPSA, you have to do a $1.50 fee.
Well, so would be if they collect the fee, then that's definitely sanctioned. Wouldn't it be?
But a level 1 is okay.
I don't know. Like I don't
It's the
think
same thing.
I don't
Collect the
think
fee.
I don't think the level of the match is the issue, is it?
Why not?
Well, where in any of the verbiage for any of the stuff is the level of the match discussed? It's just whether or not it's sanctioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. Level doesn't matter then, but they're still collecting a fee off every match. They're
Right.
supposed to.
So if they're holding a match that they say is a USPSA match and we collect the fee off of it, I would say that's a sanctioned match. Wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it then at that point.
Okay, yeah.
That would be my read on it. Okay, so
Okay, what if we don't collect a fee off of it?
if we don't collect a fee, it'd be pretty tough to say it's sanctioned.
Okay. And how's
Okay, so
how's
the
an
dummy-
outside observer going to know if we collect a fee or not?
You got to take one or the other's word for it. At
Yeah,
this
you have
point,
to
right?
take one of the other's word for it.
And neither of those two, Vince or Mike, seems like they're going to take either one's word.
For anything, yeah. I don't think there's a whole lot of communication going on. As a matter of fact, Mike posted earlier that, like, prior to him posting this, there was 2 emails between them or something like that on the issue. So I don't think there's a lot of communication going on, personally. Anyway,
So basically, between these two guys, we're at a stalemate.
I don't know. I mean, I think some compromise will be reached and announced soon. I'm not sure what that's going to be. I mean, the way it
Ultimately,
looks, like how would you look at this situation as an outsider, Tim? You look at this situation and where do you think it's at?
where do I think it's at, or where do I think it needs to go? Right now, I think where it's at, I see it kind of as a stalemate. Somebody, there's, I don't know, you got two people in command of 2 different organizations that are just kind of, I don't know, both of them have stepped up to the line, and neither one of them wants to compromise for fear of looking weaker to the other one. It's kind of like, well, I don't want to back down. Well, fuck you, I don't want to back down either. So, for all intents and purposes, yeah, they're stalemated.
Yes, they're stalemated. Okay, so the larger issues here, Matt, what do you think? Should we be members of IPSC or not?
Yes, I think we should.
But you've got lots of guys going crazy online right now because they pay money and the general membership gets no benefit out of it. It's $9,600 a year or whatever.
That's really nothing, though.
No, that's nothing to our organization. But still, in principle, they don't like it.
Okay.
So what do they get out of it?
What does a normal member get out
What
of
does
it?
your general member get out of us being affiliated with IPSC?
I'd say nothing.
Yeah.
Not a damn thing.
I agree. The general member is not getting anything out of it. They're not really paying any real money for it, but they're not getting anything. Like, organizationally, it makes tons of sense for us to basically undercut IPSC from being able to operate in the U.S. because we take that.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few of our elite athletes like Matt and me, who fucking dickheads, get to go to matches overseas. What do you think about funding the teams, Matt? Because that's the lion's share of the money, is funding teams for the World Shoot. What do you think?
I mean, funding the teams.
Yeah. Is that
doesn't make financial sense for the organization, really?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Should we do it though? Still?
Okay. Well, let me make the other argument. So this is a nonprofit organization. We're financially pretty healthy, and we should take some of the money. Like, we should save some money, of course, and then some of the extra money we've got, we should take it and use it to try and improve the sport for the shooters in some way. Do you think that spending money on those teams improves sport for our shooters?
No.
Yeah, I don't really either. Not really. Like, we send a few more of our heavy hitters to the IPSC World Shoot, which most of our members don't give a shit about. What I think would be a better spend of that money is to strap Foley and Troy and a few Nationals match directors, strap their ass in a plane and ship them to the Czech Republic so they can attend the CZ Extreme and get a better idea of what our matches should look like, our major championships anyway. That would improve that would improve the organization.
You could send a lot of people if you wanted to do that for $100,000.
No, you don't have to spend all the money. I'm just saying, like, if we're spending some money, we should ship our guys to a match.
I would say prevalent match directors, those that actually direct matches that are like our nationals or large, like level 3 matches. Yeah, send guys like that know how to organize a match, but like give them a flavor of what it's like to actually shoot.
Here's my problem. Well, no, send all these dudes over, and they're not like actually paying for it. They're not going to get anything out of it.
Right.
So
they're not going to
if there's someone
understand.
that expressed interest in it, and that's like an MD, awesome. Send them. They'll probably learn something. They'll take something away. It'll improve the sport. If you just send a person that has no interest to like learn or anything or like take any of that in, it's just going to be wasted money.
Yeah, and Tim, we'll discuss this later, but the reason, I mean, on a different podcast, but the reason I'd send somebody to that match is they run 20 stages a day in 2 10-stage half shifts. You shoot 30 stages in 3 half days. You don't paste a fucking target or do any of that stuff, and the stages are really quite good.
They are. It was really impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have no doubt.
So if we could cut and paste something like that for our nationals, it would be twice as good as it is now. And to me, it's fucking embarrassing that we aren't running that sort of a thing for our nationals.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it. I mean, I'm
I'm
sure a lot of people disagree with that. But I would like to see our sport improve generally here. But, that's just me.
Likewise. And we've discussed that before on previous podcasts, and we've had Nick on too. It's like that our nationals, especially the last couple of years, nationals, it just hasn't really felt like a national.
Our nationals is a big club match. Like, we do club matches really well, but our major championships are not, we don't really step it up that much.
They're lacking.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I'm not trying to shit on anybody. It's just, it's kind of like, that's our culture, right? Like, that's just the way we do it here. And we could do it a lot. We could do it a lot differently, and I think people like it a lot more. Anyway.
Agreed.
There's definitely a very big divide between
it's the U.S.
the big
and Europe.
European match
Yes.
versus any nationals we've had here in the last 4 years, except maybe Utah.
Well, you've seen the stages change a lot in Florida for the last couple open, and you shot the open nationals last year, Matt. Remember?
Yeah.
And that's the stage. The flavor of the stages, anyway, was a lot different.
Yeah, but I'm not really talking about that.
Yeah. You mean the way the match flows and all that?
Yeah, flows and like how much shooting gets done, really, and like the whole like big broad picture of the match.
Yeah. Okay, so Tim, is there anything else that we should be covering here? Like like as I don't know, you're not fixing to shoot internationally. Do you like the idea of us being an IPSC member region? Or do you say, fuck that noise? This makes no sense.
I don't think it makes much sense. But, yeah, I mean, it does. It doesn't make sense from a general member's perspective. Like, a general member's going to look at it and be like, what the fuck is this money really going towards? What good do I have coming out of this? But I do now, having you explain the other part of that, which is us paying dues to be part of, to be an IPSC region keeps IPSC from kind of
let me put it this way.
I'm reading in our own region. That makes total sense.
I'm reading all these retards on there like, fuck IPSC. Got foreigners telling us what to do. And it's like, we have our own rule book. We do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, foreigners don't tell us shit.
Yeah, and
we basically pay them a little bit of money to tell them to shut the fuck up and leave us alone.
Yeah, and if your feeling is fuck IPSC, the fuck IPSC position is to stay in it. That is the fuck IPSC deal, is stay in.
I'd have to agree with that.
What do you think about that, Matt?
It makes a lot of sense. I don't want
right, not to mention all this work to set us up as an IPSC region and have a stable way to have an IPSC regional director and a president. All of that work has been done. I have a feeling,
for the most part, it works.
I have a feeling that part of the compromise that'll be done will be USPSA leaving IPSC and then setting up an IPSC member region. I have a feeling that will be proposed. That's retarded because that work has already been done. It's already been done. It's already set up. It's a little bit of money on an organizational level that we have millions of dollars. Literally, USPSA has access to that. We have tons of cash. money is not an issue. Like nobody is missing this money, and it kind of fucks up IPSC for us to stay in. There's no reason to do the work again to set up the shit. It doesn't help anyone. If they want to cut the team funding, I'll fucking help them do it. I think that's fun. I like that. I don't give a shit. I'll pay to go to France myself. And the other thing I like about cutting the team funding is that's going to open up more World Shoot slots for people that want to go and are willing to pay for it themselves. There's a lot of guys that want to go that could maybe pay for it, but you've got like people getting team slots and all this shit. Like, I
think it'll hurt the competitiveness of some of the teams.
Oh yeah, we're not going to win near as much shit.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Let me put it this way: there's guys who have won world titles in IPSC who told me flat out, like if they don't get some money from USPSA to offset the cost to go, they're not going. I mean, that's a shame, but that's on them. You know, at the end of it.
Yeah, true.
Whatever. So anyway. Anything else we should cover here? What do you think, guys? This was fun to talk about.
With everything. Yeah.
Really? You feel like your questions have been answered?
I feel like it. I mean, I definitely.
Is it clear to 10? Is it clear?
Way more clear than trying to read through, 573 different pages and 15 different, social media things to try to get to the bottom of just what exactly is going on. So I think this definitely kind of made it a one-stop shop for me.
Well, I mean, the American instinct when you hear like their foreigners are running our shooting sport, you're like, fuck them. But it's like that's a very low information position, unfortunately. Like that's really not going on. Like if they told us that we had to take their rule book or we can't shoot targets with heads on them or stupid shit like that, like we would not be an IPSC region in a heartbeat. But none of that's going on. We've pretty much run the board as far as getting what we want. Like we got everything we want. We're in charge. It's a good thing for everyone, honestly. The current situation. And I don't give a fuck about fucking around in the Philippines. That's not good. It's not good for us. I actually don't think it's good for them either.
I would definitely agree. with that.
I think it'd be good for.
I would agree with that. It's actually worse for them than how bad it might look or be for us.
Yeah, it's worse. Like the Philippines, they need to come together and get their shit straight. Like,
yeah,
we're not helping that happen, in my opinion. So, wow, this was kind of boring, actually. Don't you think?
I don't think so. It was informative.
Oh, that's gay. We should go crazier next time. What do you think?
Okay.
All right, listeners, if you have a question about why Tim Herron's such a little bitch and won't shoot matches outside of the U.S., or why Matt and Ben are so entitled as assholes leaving the U.S. to shoot matches, send it to me at benstoeger.com. We'd love to answer it. All right?
Hear that, folks? I'm not an elitist. I'm a commoner.
You're a peasant.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.